Welcome back to the Flow Friday Sports Show on Flow FM. Graham Spud McKay is on the line with me to have a look at all the latest from the Northern Areas Footy Association. Good to speak with you again, Spud. How are you going on this Friday?
Pretty good, thanks, Dan. Yeah, nice fine day now. A little bit of rain yesterday and earlier in the week, but not really what we're looking for. But anyway, we're still in the hunt.
We'll certainly continue to keep our eyes peeled for a bit of rain, and we'll keep our fingers crossed for you, Spud. But it was raining goals in the second quarter of Jamestown-Peterborough's game against BMW, and this wasn't a bad result for Jamestown-Peterborough. Final score, BMW 14-11-95. Jamestown-Peterborough 7-4-46, and it was both teams putting on 5 goals each in the second quarter, and second and third quarters especially looked very competitive from Jamestown-Peterborough.
Yeah, it was quite a chilly day down there, and the wind probably favoured the northern end a little bit. It was heading down that way, and BMW did what they had to do to get the win. It finished up. It was a pretty comfortable one. It got it in by six goal or so, but a really good second quarter by Jamestown-Peterborough after they only kicked a point in the first quarter, and BMW kicked 3, and that was probably the difference there, because that they were able to hold and perhaps just expand a little bit on that in the other 3 quarters. But Jamestown-Peterborough's 5 goals in the second quarter was a really good effort by them, and then they failed to do much in the last quarter, only a couple of points. So BMW, they'd be happy to come away with those points, but Jamestown-Peterborough there's a few players that are starting to improve a little bit, and then they've blooded a couple of senior colts. Darcy Andrews, I thought, was really good on a wing, and Angus Least, Brock Grayson were good in the centre for them. And for BMW, Alec Kanga was their coach, was really good. Cody Wolford was good, and also Jackson Cumnick. So a pretty good game.
BMW coming off that big loss last week against Crystal Brook, their first and still their only loss for the year. So their form not in its best state at the moment, but Jamestown-Peterborough certainly will be very happy to push a team that's 7-1 on the season to that result, especially when they're sitting at the bottom winless. It's not a win, but they'll definitely be feeling pretty good about that one. And I just mentioned Crystal Brook and their big win last week, and they have been in sensational form. It continued last weekend with a win over Southern Flinders 16-10, 106 to 9-15-69. A good 7-goal win there.
Yeah, Southern Flinders would be reasonably happy with that too, because the number of scoring shots, it can be difficult. It was played at Crystal Brook. It can be difficult for the away team to find the goals there, but 9-15, 9-16, that was a pretty good effort by them. And Crystal Brook, as you said, they'd be happy to come away. Will Coombe in really good form again for them, and for Southern Flinders, Zeke Kay and Will Smart were probably their best.
Orroroo beat Broughton Mandurah 10-12-72 to 7-13-55. Both sides a little bit wasteful with their kicking at goal, but Orroroo did enough to keep themselves on top of the ladder.
They did. Reports were that it was colder up at Orroroo than what it was at Jamestown. That came from one of the umpires, though, and that can be the case. It was a reasonably tightly contested game. Broughton Mandurah would come away from that reasonably happy, I would have thought, to get that close. But they've probably got to do a bit more in order to get up to match Orroroo. Aidan Lee was probably their best. Aaron Laverty was the best for Broughton. So a good game, but Broughton Mandurah not quite able to get it done.
So freezing cold on the day at Orroroo. Are you saying that the players were actually doing the goal umpires a favour by making them work and keeping them active throughout the game?
Making them do a lot, wave the flags a lot, but not for the right reason. They need the 2 flags, not just the 1.
That's it. But Orroroo, they got enough goals on the board to get another win. So Orroroo, BMW and Crystal Brook, the round 8 winners. Round 9, Crystal Brook are travelling to Port Broughton to take on Broughton Mandurah to kick off tomorrow's action.
Yeah, now the interesting part about this game is that the A-grade game actually starts in the B-grade slot. So that A-grade game is going to start at 1:05, whereas normally they play at 2:50. So they've just swapped the B-grade and A-grade around. I think they did it last year. They have a sponsors day there, and the reasoning is to try and get the A graders to hang around and watch the B graders while the sponsors are being supported for their ability to support the club over the year. And so therefore, this will be pretty interesting. I reckon Crystal Brook, they've got a fair bit to play for here, because they're just on a bit of a roll. And if Will Coombe and Jackson Richmond, if they can get going for them, it'll be hard for Broughton Mundura. They've got Callis Freer, Kane Bowl and Charlie Dickerson are all in pretty good form for them. And I reckon Crystal Brook may be just over the line in this one.
All right, the tip is in for Crystal Brook there. And a lot of farmers, no doubt, on these teams. That change of time slot won't mess with the body clock too much?
Probably not, but as we heard earlier in the season, Crystal Brook had that night game and Broughton come up there and played that for them, and they sort of do this to try and help each other out. So it's a good innovation, but probably not something that I would think you'd carry on for, the whole season or anything like that.
All right, so that should be a good game there. BMW are hosting Orroroo at Melrose Oval, and I think this one's got a pretty good case for match of the round, both sitting at 7-1. Winner takes top spot.
Yeah, there'd be bragging rights here, wouldn't it, if you can get through. BMW have got Tom Drew returning for them. He has been out with a bit of an injury for them, a really good player they picked up from BBH. And Orroroo, on the other hand, I keep talking about a lot of these players week in, week out. Aidan Lee, Darren Hughes, Luke Bowman are all pretty solid players for them. And I think Orroroo might just have enough to get over the line here. But BMW will certainly give it a really good shake with their coach, Alec Kanga, in good form. And they've got a solid back line too. Nick McCullum, Matt Christopherson across the wing, and Matt Fowler in the back line with them. So really good, but I'd say maybe Orroroo.
It was BMW 10-10-70 over Orroroo 8-8-56 when they played back in round 4. And of course, that's Orroroo's only loss for the year. So they'll be certainly keen for revenge in this one, and that one should be a cracking game. Last match of the round, Jamestown-Peterborough coming in off a really good effort last week. They're heading to Laura Oval to take on Southern Flinders, and this could be a really good opportunity for them to get their first win of the season on the board.
Yeah, again, it'll be a really tightly contested game. You've got Southern Flinders with Matt Spenceley and Shane Ballantyne, their key movers. And Zeke Kay in the back line is always really strong for them. And then their young ones, Max and Ben Flowers, have been good, and Will Smart. For Jamestown-Peterborough, Max McKay in the ruck, I reckon, I thought he played pretty well there last week too, but up against a bit bigger body than what he was. But him and Henry Moore, if they can get their hands to the ball first in the centre, that will give the on-ballers in Brock Grayson and maybe... Darcy Andrews over on a wing, that will give them first use of it and put the pressure on in order to get it. A really hard one to pick, but let's hope that Jamestown-Peterborough can just get over the line in this one to give them a win for the season. But Southern Flinders will be, on the other hand, saying, well, hey, we're going to have 2 wins here and not allow Jamestown-Peterborough to get that one and maybe force themselves off the bottom of the ladder.
Really interesting slate of games in Northern Areas Footy this weekend. 1v2, 3v4 and 5v6 all on the schedule. Always good when a 6-team comp works out that way with the fixture, but it does make it a lot harder to pick a winner. Good luck to everyone in Northern Areas Footy this weekend. Should be a cracker. Spud, thank you for checking in. Always good to speak with you on a Friday. Have a good weekend. We'll speak to you next week.
Thanks, Dan. Let's see how we go with our tips.